in the world. Hi, I'm Joanne O'Halloran, and I am a business mentor and sales expert for coaches and holistic therapists who want to sign their first 5 clients. So, today, what I'm going to do is walk you through if you're in HR, which is where I was, right? So, if you're in human resources, how can you then turn it into a successful coaching business? Because what I love about the synchronicities between human resources and coaching is that there's a lot of overlaps. There's a lot of stuff that actually you have in your wheelhouse that makes your success so much easier. And it's just tapping into that and knowing that you can absolutely do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to walk you through all these lovely fun little bits and talk to you about how you're going to do it. So how do you go from HR to being a successful coach? So a little bit about me. Like I said already, business mentor, sales expert for coaches and holistic therapists who want to find and sign their first clients. But obviously, I'm more than that. I'm a mum, and I'm also soon to be Granny Jojo. So Leah is due her baby in 3 weeks, the 24th of January. We are going to have my grandson here, which I can't wait for. But before I was a business mentor and coaching people, I spent my entire adult life in human resources. That was my entire career, was human resources. And it was a really good career because I started off in Lidl, and I literally started when they were so new here. I think were they 2 or 3 years in the country at that stage, and I got to build my career with them. Had an epic career with them. Was there for 10 years, and then started moving on to like up level and go to different levels. And I always worked for really, really fabulous companies, but there was always something missing for me. There was always something that I didn't enjoy, but I could never put my finger on it because, like what most people say is that, like on paper, I had everything because I had really good job, good salary. As a single parent, had bought my own house. Like there was a lot of things that I got to be super grateful for, but there was something missing. And I want to start off this by saying as well, I never had any desire to be an entrepreneur. That was not, I didn't wake up when I was a child and go, I want to own my own business. That was never, ever in my thought process at all. So if you're somebody that's like, I don't know if I could own a business, know that I didn't either, right? Because it was not something I ever thought about. How all of this came about for me actually was not only had I burnt out twice in my HR career, but I'd also had 2 miscarriages. And it was the second miscarriage that actually was the catapult to change for everything for me. Because after the second miscarriage, I was completely floored, and I struggled to make any sort of decisions. And I'm talking about like if Leah was asking me what we were having for dinner, I couldn't process an answer for her. Like I literally was like, I didn't know what to say to her. Everything just felt really, really difficult. And I went for counseling, and I will forever be grateful for this counselor because what she said to me was that I had reached like my crossroads. And while yes, obviously I absolutely needed to grieve for my losses, but she said there was a lot more I was grieving because I'd reached the pinnacle of my career, and now what? I was somebody that was always like a go-getter, action taker. I love variety, I love excitement, like all those things. And because I had reached a point where I wasn't getting that anymore, and plus I was in a relationship that was not a healthy relationship at all. But I didn't realize it because I was in so much of doing mode. So I went, thankfully for that counselor, she was like, look, you actually need to go see a coach. And I was like, I'd never considered it before. So for those of us in HR, I have absolutely experienced coaching from like a leadership point of view in the corporate world. But in terms of like for my own life, had never even entered my head until somebody said it to me. So that was in the very beginning of 2020, all of this kicked off. And I signed up for my first ever coach. And within that was when I realized I actually wanted to be a coach. That was what I really loved about human resources, was being a coach. Like I loved coaching, loved, supporting people on their journey, bigging them up, but like all the just it was just my jam, like totally my thing. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. That's it. I'm going to be a coach. Um, but here's the fun thing. It didn't take off as quickly as I thought it would, which for me was very frustrating because, like I said, I'm a real go-getter and I just expected it all to come about, and it didn't. So within the first 6 months, I made a total of €2,000, which look, I couldn't possibly live off that. So thank goodness I still have my corporate job. But 2 months later, something shifted. and I made my first 10K sales month, and it continued on from there. And I was able to leave my job that I was in within a year of that. And I'm very grateful to be able to say I have a 100% success rate with my clients. That is a big thing to be able to say. And I'm very, very proud of that. And I say it loudly and proudly constantly because I know where I was, and I want to make sure that other people can have the results that I now have. And I want to shorten the gap of, like, my learning curve was 8 months. That was painful. Like, it was painful because self-doubt starts to creep in. So I want to shorten that learning curve for people and go, okay, you want to set up your coaching business? Let's go. Let me show you how to do it, and let me show you how to do it pretty quickly. So I want to just share with you some results that some of my clients have got. So like I said, I support both coaches and holistic therapists, and they marry really well together. You can generate the exact same results for both niches really easily, which is fab. So Nollaig is bioenergy healer. So all of these women have corporate jobs, or had, should I say, have or had. So Nollaig is an SNA, but she's also now just gone part-time because her energy healing business took off. When I met Nollaig, she was qualified in energy healing, but she hadn't actually opened her doors. She hadn't told anybody what she was doing. Nobody knew that Nollaig was open for business. And within 3 weeks of us working together, she signed her first client, and she continued to sign clients consistently thereafter, to the point where she was booked out weeks in advance. She also was able to take her business internationally and take on international clients, which is amazing, to go from having nothing and being terrified to even tell anybody what she was doing, to now having her business international. Like, that's a phenomenal thing to be able to achieve. Susan's a mindset coach, brand new coach. She was working in a career already and was brand new to coaching. And beautiful thing about Susan is in her 70s, which is amazing. So that'll just tell you that anything's possible. She signed 6 clients within 6 weeks of us working together, and has a 12% conversion rate of sales from her masterclass. Now, when I say conversion rate of sales, that's conversion rate of sign-ups to masterclasses. So whether you may not be familiar with these statistics, but say if you have like 100 people that opt in, possibly 25 to 30% of them will attend. And then from that, then maybe anywhere between, say, 10 to 25% will book a call, and then your conversion rates after that are down to your own sales skills. But for her to have 12% conversion rate of sales from the number of like people that have opted in is like unheard of. So it's incredible. So here's your coaching success framework. Note this down, because there is a huge amount of noise out there in the industry, and that's what I got caught up in. And any of the clients that come to work with me, it's the same thing. They're getting caught up in the noise and the stuff that you don't need to be focusing on at the start. You get to keep this really, really simple and make sure that your business is a success, not that you're dragging your feet going, what am I meant to be doing? How do I make this work? So note this down. The first one is you're going to have a bulletproof mindset. Now, from working in HR, you will have a very resilient mindset, because if you think about what you deal with on a regular basis in human resources, like, there's a lot of conflict management. You're working with, high level executives who are looking after their departments, and it'll be a very quick environment, and there's a lot of like problem solving that needs to be done. So you already know what you're capable of. Now, imagine when you open up your mindset beyond that, what you really are capable of. It's incredible. The second thing then is your niche. This is honestly the biggest challenge that new entrepreneurs have, particularly when they're setting up their business at the start, is settling on a niche and sticking to it and having it super, super specific. Because if you're not specific, nobody is really going to like be drawn to you, and you want to attract people in. The third one then is relationships. Again, think about what we do in human resources. It's all about relationships. You have to have a relationship with managers. You have to have a relationship with staff at all levels. You have to have relationships outside of the company. So it's already in your wheelhouse. And then the fourth one then is to sell one thing, not lots of things. Now, this is one where I always say you need to build your business in a way that works for you. Selling one thing has worked incredibly well for me, which is why I teach it. So I always recommend that when you start out, sell one thing, because otherwise you're going to get confused, and until you get into the confident mode of selling, it's not going to go the way you want it to. Okay, so why do HR professionals make excellent coaches and why is there so many of them? I gave you some examples already, but they're generally thought leaders, right? So think about it, like you're generally a thought leader. So you will have an opinion, you'll have thoughts, you'll be the person to go to about certain things. And your strength is 100% problem solving to get results. Is 100% problem solving to get results. So imagine what you're capable of to support your clients with. Now, we are never responsible for the results that our clients get. We're responsible for making sure that they have the tools to get the results and to hold them accountable and to really drive home, what needs to be done in order to get the results that they want. But you already will have a proven track record of that being in HR. How many people can say that? Like, it's incredible to be able to do that. So you want to watch your business take off? Of course you do. So there's the slow way, which means you will struggle, or the method I'm going to show you. So the takeoff method does give success. Like I said, I have 100% success rate with my clients, 100% success rate with my clients getting results. That's incredible. And like I said, I'm going to keep saying it because I don't know too many people out there that are able to claim that. So here's some startup myths. And I see this time and time and time again. And I also see people that have attended masterclasses that I've done before. And they're like, yeah, but I want to do this anyway. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But it's blocking you from actually generating income, bringing in clients, and really doing what you want to do, which is to be able to support people on whatever transformation you're able to get them. So these are myths, right? That you need a website first. You don't at the very start. You honestly do not. And there's a lot of places out there that are promoting this that you do. I am a full stand for you do not as a coach. You need a landing page for sure, because you need to obviously have visibility, but you do not need a website. It will distract you and it's an unnecessary cost at the very start. Needing a detailed business plan before you start. This is a personal choice, but you need a plan, absolutely. But those massive detailed ones, you do not to start. That you can do everything yourself. You can't, right? And the simple reason that you can't do everything yourself is because you don't know everything. You can't, if you've never built a business before, you can't know what you don't know. And you need to be able to go get support with it. This is another one that always fascinated me, is that you can't have your job at a business. I used to hear this quite a lot on sales calls 2 years ago was, well, I can't leave my job. But whoever said you had to? I didn't leave my job until I was in a position where I felt secure enough to do it. A lot of my clients also did the exact same thing. In fact, I'd say 90% of them did the exact same thing. There was very few of them that were already full-time entrepreneurs or stay-at-home moms that were working on building a business. There was very few of them. It was nearly everybody that had a corporate job that wanted to transition into owning their own business. You absolutely can have both, and it's you just do it with integrity. That you need large capital to get started. You don't. I started my business on my phone. I didn't even have a laptop at the time. I started on my phone. So if I could start my business on my phone and start generating 10K sales months, you definitely don't need large capital to be able to do it. And there's a lot of free resources that are out there too that are amazing to help get entrepreneurs' businesses off the ground. So make sure that you capitalize on them. You can't get sales without a large audience. This is the biggest myth I've ever seen. You absolutely can get sales. My very first sale that I made, when I made that 2K, she actually was a previous employee of mine, and I had like 89 people or something on my email list, and I think I had 300 people on my Instagram, but most of them were like friends and acquaintances and people that I'd met on programs and things like that. Like, they weren't actually my ideal client, so it didn't really matter that they existed. But you can absolutely get sales without a large audience. This one, I really hope anyone that is considering starting a business really listens to this one, that you need to have your product before you sell. This is specific to coaching, okay? Specific to coaching. So if you build out your program before you have proof of concept, you will struggle to sell it. And I'm going to say that again. So if you create your program before you have proof of concept, you will struggle to sell it, because you're not going to be able to market it in the way that you do. You always want to get proof of concept before you develop anything, which is why you want to be able to just focus on selling one thing. That you need lots of new ideas to make your business work. You don't. Like I said, that's how I got distracted, because there's so much noise out there, like a huge amount of noise. We got to keep it really simple, because I find that a lot of people tend to get massively overwhelmed, and then end up doing nothing. They're just spinning around in circles if there's too much going on. You want to keep it really straightforward and simple. That you need to price yourself lower than the competition and you will win. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because you want to be able to display the value of what you do and the value of the transformation. And you also want people to be committed to what they're doing. And pricing is always a really interesting one because, just to give a real like bold example, and I mean bold as in like cheeky bold, like if you think of Primark or Pennies, right? Um, People don't go to them necessarily for the value of the clothing. But if you were to go to somewhere like, if you're in Ireland, like Brown Thomas, or if you're in America, like, we'll go even bigger than that. Let's just say something like Gucci. Like, you're going for the value. You're going for the value, and you take care of it, and you make sure that it's looked after. It's the same thing when you're pricing yourself. So just know that you want to price yourself accordingly to the value of the transformation that you're going to get. The timing has to be right. There's never going to be a right time, because for there to be a right time, we need life to stop happening, and that just doesn't happen because we're human beings. We're here to experience lots of things, and we can't predict what's going to happen. We can't predict, if the kids are going to get sick. We can't predict if, I don't know, like something's going to break in the house. We can't predict if, like what happened to my poor mum on Christmas Eve. She went to put the key in the ignition of the car and it wouldn't turn over at all. And of course, the mechanic's not working. So what can you do? You can't predict those things. So you have to let go of the timing, this timing being right thing. There's no such thing. The other one then is to have different offerings. So I've said this multiple times already. You want to have one. You want to have one very, very clear one and just go with it. And if I can share something as well, I've seen a very clear trend happening in the last, I'd say probably 5 months for sure. And I predict that it's going to continue to happen in 2023. And it's that less people are looking to sign up to group programs, and they want the more personal touch. So like the one-on-one or like a high level mastermind where it's a really small group of people. There's less people wanting to opt in to the big group programs. So when you have one thing, you can 100% focus on that. And actually what also I've seen as well is if somebody has like a really low ticket offer. So when I say low ticket, anything from $7 kind of dollars or euro up to say 97, people that tend to buy them now are buying them to test out their coach or mentor before then they opt into the higher level. But the opting into the higher level is like for the personal touch. It's an interesting trend that's coming out. That you have to be available 24/7. You do not. That your success depends on your idea. It does not, because it is incredible. It is incredible the businesses out there that are succeeding because of passion and because of tenacity and consistency. It's not always, it doesn't mean you have to have the best idea, but you do need to know how to package it, and that you need to have it perfect before you launch it. So here's a really good one for you to ponder on, is how do you know if entrepreneurship is for you? So like I said already, I had no burning desire to own my own business. Anytime anyone was ever talking about owning their own business, I was really happy for them. It wasn't a thing that I had I never even entered my head to go do it. But how do you know if it is for you? So if the idea of only ever having a corporate job sounds awful, which it did for me, but I didn't twig that, entrepreneurship was the way to go. I was looking at how to pull in multiple streams of income so that I could just leave my job. It wasn't that I thought about setting up a business. It was literally like, how can I create other multiple streams of income? You also have a dream that never fades, which I did. And you get to ask yourself, do you as well? Do you have a dream that never fades? And again, it doesn't have to be about business, but it can be about the lifestyle that you want. Like, I will tell you now, I am forever grateful that even though I didn't get to spend a huge amount of time with Leah when she was a child, I now have time and space to be able to spend with her when she's starting her family. I've got to go to appointments with her. I've been able to see my grandson on the screen. Like, there's not many people that have that opportunity to do that because they're working. I am able to create that space in my business so that I can have that time with her. That was all I ever wanted, was to be able to have more time to be with her when I wanted. That was what was important to me, and to be able to travel whenever I wanted. I literally did workshops this year and did client sessions from Portugal, from San Diego in America, and from a beach. So when you know what your dreams are, you're able to make like move mountains to make them happen. Another really interesting one is for all the successful entrepreneurs is you happily juggle lots without even thinking about it. So I know for all my people in human resources, you do that anyway, right? So this is why I know that moving from HR into coaching is it's like a happily married couple. No is an odd word for you. So it was for me. I was always told I was super stubborn. And if somebody told me no, I saw it as a challenge, going, sorry, what do you mean no? Right? I don't understand that word. It's not in my vocabulary. And I would always look for the solution. I'm like, there always has to be a way. You don't seem to fit in with the crowd. I never did. I never, ever, ever did. And I will say that's what made me go inwards, and that's what created the shyness in me. But I also didn't have a network of people around me that openly talked about their dreams or openly went after their dreams. So that's what created me to go inwards. Whereas I see when other people are surrounded by, entrepreneurs or people that are go-getters consistently and they're not held back, they just take off. And this is why the five people that you like, the five closest people to you will be a direct reflection of what it is that you're creating in your life. This is why it's so important to make sure that you're in a community of people that will lift you up, that are going in the same direction that you are, and in some cases are steps ahead of you. You really want to make sure that you're giving yourself permission to be at the table of those amazing people. Like, never settle for anything less, because that's the crowd that you are meant to be in, and also then that you're a self-starter. So a typical thing that comes up for people is, well, what if it doesn't work? Or what if I don't have enough money? And that kind of ties into as well, as in like, I can't afford to leave my job. These have come from me doing market research repeatedly throughout the years. It's the same thing that comes up. What if I can't do it? And what if I don't have enough money? And this is the number one reason why people don't start their businesses and make their businesses a roaring success. So like, you have got to choose what you want to be focused on. If you want to be focused on something failing, you will make it fail. If you want to be focused on not having enough money, you won't have enough money. That's just the reality of the situation. This is why having a bulletproof mindset is so important, because you've got to be able to focus on what you want. A friend of mine asked me yesterday, how have you stayed so consistent? And I was like, that's a really good question. Because she was going up and down. And I was like, it's because my eyes were always on the prize. It never even entered my head that this wouldn't work. It never even entered my head that I wouldn't make money. It just didn't even come across my mind. Now, that's not to say I didn't feel afraid. I did, because I was putting myself, like doing lives, doing something like this, speaking at events, scared the life out of me, like absolutely scared the life out of me. And I questioned whether or not I would be able to do them. But I never questioned whether or not I could make my business successful. And I think it's really important that you become very aware of your thoughts and very aware of what it is that you're actually focusing on. Like, what do you think about, and then what do you speak out? Because they're going to be what matters. And these 3 A's I teach my clients all of the time. Like, every session we have, it is the same thing. If you've ever done any of my masterclasses, it is the same thing. You get to live and breathe by these 3 A's. So the first one is awareness. So if you have a fear of failing, or you have a fear of that you're not going to have enough money, where is that coming from? It's really important to have a look and see, well, where is it coming from? Were you told that that was going to happen? Have you experienced other people making that happen? Are you getting caught up with a lot of stuff that's happening in the media at the moment? Like, really know where it's coming from, like uncover it, and bring awareness to the fact that it actually is doing you no favors. It's keeping you in stuff that you don't want. My cousin is a personal trainer, and I always remember, this is going back a few years ago, he came out with a brilliant one line, and I have consistently shared it since. His name is Matthew Nagel. And he said, you're already uncomfortable where you are. So why not be uncomfortable going to where you want to be? Either way, you're going to be uncomfortable. I'm like, that is so brilliant, because you have to learn and grow and develop, right? But you've got to bring awareness to why you feel the way that you do. And also accept then. So the next one being accept. Accept that it's not working for you and choose to flip the script on it. This is why working on your mindset it's non-negotiable, to be honest with you, because every time you up level, you're going to feel another level of fear. Like when I shared with you that I had that 10, it was over 10K sales month that first time, it was like great, everything was great. And then a couple of days later, panic set in, right? And I mean, full blown panic set in. Not because I didn't think I was going to have enough money, right? But I was like, am I going to be able to do this again? Was it a fluke? I had to go through these 3 A's going, okay, so where is that coming from? That's coming from the fact that this is new. I haven't experienced it before, and everybody told me I was absolutely crazy. Starting up my own business, being a single parent, and wanting to leave my job. What is wrong with me? It doesn't wash with me. Like I said, no, it's not in my vocabulary. But I had to accept that that was my thought process. I had to accept that that wasn't working for me, and I had to accept that it was stopping me in my tracks. And then move on to number 3, the third A, taking action. I had to take action. Like I absolutely had to take action on it. So I had to go back and reframe it and take action on it. There are some factors to consider, right? And these are practical things that you want to consider. Because I've been asked before, how did you make that leap from being an employee into an entrepreneur? And it didn't happen overnight. Like I said, I wanted to get myself to a point where I knew I had money saved for the next, whatever, 4 to 5 months, and that it gave me a good runway so that I could really double down and focus. And at that stage, I had 10 clients consistently every month. So doubling down on that, I was like, okay, great, I can really make it easy. And then I switched into, I launched my first group and brought in 5 clients straight away. So like, it's to know that there's practicalities behind this too, right? So think about it. How much do you need to earn to cover your bills, right? That's a really obvious one. But you need to know what it is. Like, what are your bills? What is it that is like, an absolute must for you, and note it down. Because here's one thing that I've really learned as well is what you track grows. So if you're not tracking, and obviously you don't want to track your bills, you want to track your bills so that you know what your outgoings are, but you want to put your focus on your money that's coming in, right? So start tracking now. So how much do you need to earn to cover your bills? Know what that is, and know what they're going to be for the next, I'd say, 12 to 18 months. So that okay, I need to earn X amount more, either to meet what your current corporate salary is, or if you're like, there was only my salary coming in. So if I wasn't making money, the bills weren't being paid in the house. So know what it is that you need to earn. So if you have somebody at home that is able to contribute to whatever the bills are, then you'll know, okay, this is what I need to earn. And then go to your next level. What is it that I need to earn in order to be able to leave my job, if that's what you want? Not everybody leaves their job when they start their business. And remember, you don't have to if you don't want to. But if that is your end game, like mine was, then map it out. Then think about what investments you can make now to drive your success forward. So I will never be without a mentor. I will never be without a mentor. The first mentor I had was mindset. The moment I invested in my business coach, I started making money. Like, it was crazy. Started making money because my mindset was where it needed to be. And then she gave me the strategy, and sure, it just took off. Like, it took off. There was dust behind me. And I always ask myself, okay, what is my next step? Do I know how to do it? Yes or no? And if I don't, okay, who can support me? Like, literally last month, I just made an 18K investment into my next level. But I also have a mindset, like a leadership mentor, as well as my business mentor, because I'm like, I want to drive my success forward. So what investments can you make now to drive your success forward? And it's really important that you do. The worst thing that you can do is go at this on your own, because it will take a long time. Like those first 8 months of my business, I'm sorry I didn't get a business mentor the moment I decided I wanted to set up my business. I had my mindset mentor, and I was like, oh, well, I did what most people do is, well, I've invested in that. Can I keep investing? Because where am I going to get the money from? But sure, it slowed me down, and that just frustrated the life out of me, which I know a lot of you guys are like that too. So what investments can you make now to drive your success forward? And these are 2 questions that, again, I get my clients to ask consistently. Where do you need support? So what do you need support with, and where do you need the support from? Because you need to know the answer to that. You don't need to know the how, but you need to know the who and the what, right? So let me give you an example. If social media was like foreign to me, absolutely foreign to me. No idea how to do it. But even with that, I was like, okay, I don't know how to do it. Who does? I went to my daughter, who was 18 at the time. Like, that was an obvious place to go to, right? She knew exactly what she was doing. When it came to, okay, how do I get a strategy to make money? I went to a business coach who could show me how to do that. So, what do you need support with? And where do you need the support? And just remember as well, not everybody is going to understand your drive. Very few people, in fact, will. And as we grow and as we develop, we expect everybody else to come along on the same journey with us, and they don't. But this is where you get to surround yourself by people that are going on the same journey as you, because they understand. They can support you when you want to quit. They can like lift you up when things feel tough. Because I always say, so Robert is my other half, and I always say Robert doesn't have a clue what I'm doing, but he is a great supporter. Like, he's an amazing supporter. And like, if I've had, I don't know, like, we all have bad days, but like, say, like, it was a couple of months ago, I did a masterclass and I made no sales from it, and I was like, what is this? Like, this had never happened before, and I was like, what is this? And of course, I got all upset about it, and so I was able to talk it out with him. But sure, what could he do? Absolutely nothing, because it was like foreign to him. He had no idea what I was talking about, what my needs were, and didn't. He was like, "Oh, sure, it'll be okay." I'm sorry, absolutely not. Like, this is not what I wanted at all. Um, but yet when I spoke to my business friends about it, it was great. It was like, okay, here's the bucket, get it out. I go, okay, how are we going to problem solve this? Which was exactly what I needed. And never ever let other people's beliefs and limitations impact your dreams. If I did that, I would still be in Lidl today. I would still be in Lidl. I will tell you this now. I quit my job in Lidl with no job to go to. I trusted myself. I trusted that I would find another job. I trusted that the skill set that I had was enough to get me another job. I got an amazing job. The same way I trusted that when I was setting up my business, it was going to be a success, because I knew that I had the tenacity to do it. So you get to think about that mindset too. Will other people understand what you're doing? No. Will other people tell you like you're crazy to put money into a business? Yes. Will people tell you it's the wrong time to do it? Yes. Is that true? No. That's never true. That's never true. But you have got to choose what side of the fence you're going to sit on. Are you going to sit on the side of the fence where things don't go well, or are you going to sit on the side of the fence where everything is going to work out because you're going to make sure that it happens? So here's your framework. This is literally the framework to take off. It is very, very simple, really, really simple. And this is what you need. So you want to make sure that you create a vision for your life and your business. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people do it backwards because we've come out of the corporate world, right? So if you think about when you're in the corporate world, while there may be stuff that you love, right? What are things that frustrate you? I'll share what mine were. So what frustrated me was not being able to take holidays whenever I wanted, to like not be able to go and, like I said, be there for Leah for things that I wanted to be able to do, to spend time with her, to, like, it was such a big deal if she was sick and I couldn't just be at home with her, like things like that. And I was like, okay, what is my vision for my life? I want to have time for her. I want to have time where I'm present with her and I'm enjoying that time. And I want to make sure that I have space to be able to travel, and I wanted to meet somebody, which I did. Obviously, I met Robert, and I was like, I want to have experiences in life. Like, if you had said to me 3 years ago that I would be standing up in San Diego talking, or, like doing client events from there, holding retreats, like speaking on stages, I would have gone, you're nuts. But I had to start with what was it that I wanted. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to do the stuff that I enjoyed when I enjoyed it. And my business has allowed me to do that. So be very clear on the life that you want first, so that you don't end up in the same cycle of like the things that frustrate you from the corporate world. The second thing then, and this is the most, I really want to drum this in, this is super important: nail your niche. Please don't avoid this. Nail your niche. It is the number one killer of businesses. Nail your niche. Your niche is going to be normally a version of who you used to be, right? In whatever transformation you get people. So, like me, I help people sign their first 5 clients because that was me. And I know what doesn't work and I know what does work and what will get results super quickly, like super, super quickly. So, I know exactly who my niche is. I know that I want the brand new coaches and the holistic therapists that want to hit the ground running and get their business to take off. That is my niche. What's yours? You just get to pick what it is and know that it's going to grow and evolve over time. The one thing I always say is, you never fully know your ideal client. You're always working on it, and you're always getting to know them and developing it and finding out new things. And like one thing that I have found with the majority of clients that come to me is those that have come from the corporate world is they're the breadwinners. The women are the breadwinners. I, how would I have ever known that like before? I couldn't have until I asked the question. But I just thought it was so interesting, like that the women were the breadwinners. Yet, how often do we hear that being talked about? We don't, right? The next one then, and this is the one that will get you your clients, is to network and make sure that you nurture your audience consistently, like consistently nurture them, because you want to show that you know what you're talking about. You want to show that you're able to support people. So our job as coaches is to support people. So to be able to support people where they're at and do it consistently so that people can get to know you, to like you, and to trust you. Because it takes anywhere between 7 to 21 times for somebody to be in your space with you before they'll decide whether or not they trust you. And because of that, you want to be there consistently. The next one then is to do market research on client wants. So here is a really one piece of information I wish I knew at the start is as coaches, right? So even think about this from a HR point of view, you know what people need, right? You absolutely know what people need. You can see it because we're here to problem solve. Trying to sell to people's needs doesn't work because people don't want to know what they need, right? So like when I was first starting my business, if you had told me that I needed to let go of control and I needed to allow like my true thoughts to come out in order to generate the success that I have now, I would have said, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, no, what I want is I want to know how to go from A to Z like that. That is what I want to know. I want to know how I got clients in the door. I already knew I could get them results. I was like, I want to know how I can get clients in the door and how I can do it now, right now. And part of my struggle at the start was because I wouldn't let go of the control. And I was afraid to speak out. And when I say speak out, is in, share what I was afraid of, share what wasn't working, and get support on it because I was terrified of being judged. Now, like I said, if you had told me that was what I needed, I would have said, no, thank you, not today. That's not for me. So you've always want to speak in, figure out what they want, and then speak into that because your service, so whatever you're coaching people on, is going to deliver their needs. Like you're going to be getting them from A to Z, but you're going to be working through what their actual needs are. So your service will always cover that. And then make offers to work with you and be clear on the results. A lot of people don't make sales because they don't actually let people know they're open for business, which might sound silly, but you need to let people know that you're open for business. So here's some more client results. So Janine, psychologist, she her career is learning and development, and within 2 weeks of working together, she signed 2 clients. She's consistent 2K recurring income, plus she's got cash injections, and she sold out her first retreat within 7 months of starting her business, which is pretty cool, if I might say so myself. She's incredible, and she just continues to grow. And like when I was talking to her there a couple of weeks ago, she was saying that she's now looking for extra space in her diary to be able to take on more clients, which is amazing. CK is an empowerment coach, also HR executive, and she signed 4 people onto her 12-week program, launched her podcast, and won awards for speaking. Oh yeah, that's what's possible. Here's just an example of a 12-month plan. So this is a plan that I personally follow, and it just gives you an idea as to where you can put your focus on, right? So it's just an example. So remember I said to you at the start that you don't need a really like big detailed business plan, but you do want a plan. You 100% want to plan. And here's just an example of the plan. Now you will put things into this obviously, but I just want to give you an overview in case you're wondering what a year in a coaching business would look like. So you're always going to be nurturing your clients and your audience, right? consistently. And you will do that on your social media, you'll do that on email, you'll do that through networks, through follow-ups. I love voice messages. So for anyone who ever signs up to my events, you will get voice messages from me. I love doing that because I love connecting with people. And then I would spend 5 months of the year focusing on generating like more people into my audience. So how do I would do audience builds specifically, and I do that roughly 5 months of the year. For 4 months of the year, then I will sell. So I don't have sales all the time. I'll sell roughly about 4 months of the year. And when I'm selling, I'm selling. And then I do cash accelerators. So I'll do roughly 4 to 6 weeks of them. So what they look like for me will be VIP days. So VIP days are great for somebody that just wants the strategy. It doesn't work in the beginning, if you're new and you're not going to implement it. I know, because I did one. Because you need to have the accountability to go with it. But they're great if you like if somebody already has a business, is taking on clients, and then you just want that extra boost. VIP days are great for that. Okay, so if you are like a lot of people and you're like, hate sales, can't do it, don't want to talk about it, don't talk to me, right? That was me. That was me. I always associated sales as like, Matilda's dad, this film Matilda, her dad, right? That's where my mind always went with sales. And sales are not like that. I now am a sales expert, like a sales expert. Who would have thought? Sales actually are just about relationships. They're about developing relationships. And the beautiful thing is, if you deep down know that you can solve a person's problem, it is actually really generous and kind to share how they can solve it. And the way to do that is to do it through your program. Selling is about taking a stand for people, and I mean feet down, standing up, going, no, I know that you're nervous, but these are the results that you want. I've got you. Let me show you how to do it. And most people, right? Sales actually starts way before a sales call. It starts when you're building up the know, like, and trust factor. So, whether they see your content on social media, they're engaging with your emails, they're in contact with you, maybe they know somebody who knows you. It's starting way before that, and people are just trying to get a sense of who you are. So by the time somebody comes to actually have a call with you, they're ready to go. But if they're feeling a little bit afraid, it's your job to support them with that. Because the way I always look at it is, if somebody had already paid you and you were coaching them, what would you say to them? Would you allow that fear to take them over, and like that nerve to take them over? Or would you work them through it? Of course you'd work them through it. So you get to do the same thing on a sales call. It's honestly just about relationships. You're building up the trust. And the one thing I love about sales calls is it's your first time to make a difference in somebody's life and to give them an experience of what it's like to be coached by you. So never fear them. Okay, so not to get into the downside of it, but there is a reason why coaching businesses fail. And it has nothing got to do with your qualifications. It has to do with a lack of consistency and focusing on the things that just don't matter at the start. There's one lady in particular that I'm thinking of who it was the same pattern over and over and over again. So she was insisting on building out her program, even though she had no idea whether or not she proved a concept, wouldn't build her audience, then tried to sell it. So she did things backwards, right? But she repeated this 3 times before she went, okay, this isn't working, because she was focusing on the things that didn't matter. It's the same with consistency, right? So like I said, I got asked that question yesterday. How have I been able to stay so consistent? It's because my focus was always on the prize. Like if I look at everybody who started coaching when I did, there's very few of us that are making money, making an impact, and creating profitable businesses. And those of us that did, it's because that we're consistent. You will fall off the bandwagon, of course you will. Like I was not consistent all day, every day. Like I definitely wasn't. And there was times when, I'd planned to do a live, but conveniently I didn't tell anyone I'd planned to do the live. So therefore I was like, I'm not going to show up. And that then just created a continuation then of like, well, I'm not going to do a live today. Oh, I'm not going to do a live today. Oh, I'm not going to do a live today. But I had to get back up and get back on the bandwagon again. And like, you all know this from being in HR, a habit takes 36, like a new habit takes 36 weeks for it to become your new norm. So you have to get back up every time something doesn't work and go again and go again and go again. Because remember, you're never in the same place that you were the first time it didn't work. You're always in a better place because you have more information now, you've got more knowledge. You know that you stopping didn't work. So you get up and you go again. It's like going to the gym. So how can you eliminate the risk, right? Because we all want that, to be able to eliminate the risk. Very simply, you've got to use a proven system. This is why I'm going to keep saying it. Going at it alone and trying to figure it out on your own never works. It will get you so far. Like if you're really tenacious, it will get you so far. And then you're going to go, I don't know what to do. So you want to use a proven system. You want to shorten the learning curve. So like I said, 8 months was a long time. If I didn't have my corporate job, I would have been screwed, because what would I have done? Like, it would have been painful. So you want to shorten your learning curve by getting the information that actually works. And like, the one thing I'll say is, don't be a freebie seeker that, sits on every single solitary masterclass workshop that's going and not actually commit to taking action on any of it, because that will keep you stuck too. And it'll fill your head with a lot of different ideas, and you'll try and cross pollinate them and take bits of things that you like. But there's a reason that what people are teaching you is proven, because it's repetitive. So it's doing it over and over again, and it's being consistent. So consistency is what generates the results. Also have a community around you that will elevate you when you want to quit. Do this, because there are going to be times where you're going to want to quit. There's times where I've picked up the phone to some of my friends that like are in the business world, and I'm like, I don't know if I can continue to do this. Because either you get a knock, or somebody will, like, I have had like some really obscure things knock my confidence. Like somebody that I didn't know ask me why I was talking about miscarriages. And that really upset me, because I was like, I'm actually doing really good by talking about miscarriages, because I actually got to go speak on a podcast in Jamaica about my miscarriages, because they're not talked about a lot over there, and about how I felt and what I did to overcome it and what I did to celebrate my babies. And that was like, somebody shunned that, and I'm like, that really knocked my confidence, and that made me want to quit, like, and come away from being visible online. But when I had people around me that I could talk to about it, and who understood that it was something I needed to work through and keep going, that was really helpful. And then you need to make sure you have accountability to propel you forward. Most people don't want to be accountable. They don't want to be accountable, because when you're accountable, you have no choice but to make it work, right? And this is why I have 100% success rate with my clients, is because you are accountable. You have your plan, you know exactly what you're going to be doing, then it's up to you to go do it. So the only reason it won't work is because of you if you don't do it. But when you're accountable, you're going to want to do it. I have to say, I personally, I hated at the start accountability, because there was that whole thing of like, I don't want to go to my coach and say, well, I didn't do this because of this. It like really spun the wheels and generated incredible results, because I was accountable. So are you ready to get your coaching business to take off? Do you want to sign 3 to 5 clients, have them on your books in the next 60 days? Bet you do. We all do, right? So the journey begins now. So I want to navigate your way to success together, right? I really, really want to do it. And I'm opening up the opportunity to be able to book a call with me and see how us working together will work amazing. So I'm just going to put it here into the chat, and I'll put it on these lives afterwards so that you can then go see them. But I want to talk about what working together will look like, right? So it's one-on-one. So we're together for 6 months, and we focus on the stuff that matters, right? We are not going to look at the noise. We're going to look at the stuff that matters. We're going to look at your niche. We're going to look at like your networks. Where are your ideal clients right now, and how do you connect with them straight away? What is your actual message? So what do you stand for, and what is your message? Because within that, then you'll be able to create your content. So when I say content, that can and will be like for your social media, it can and will be for your email, it can and will be. Also, if you choose to do masterclasses, webinars, workshops, things like that, that will form your content for that. And then we do a deep dive into sales psychology. sales, like I said, it starts way before, and it's all about building relationships. But there's very cool things that when you understand them, you no longer have the thoughts that selling is icky because you understand it better. We actually all have different buying styles. So all of us buy differently. And I always give the example of myself and Robert, just because I think a lot of people can relate to it. If I'm in, I'm in, right? If I'm buying something, I'm buying something. And if I think it's amazing, I will tell everybody about it. Like, I am the best cheerleader ever. I will literally tell everybody. Robert's slightly different. Robert will, um, he wants all the information, and he wants to think about all the information. He wants to review it again and again and again, and then talk to other people about it. And then he will make a decision. So if you didn't know that, right, you go, okay, I'm a dream to have, because if I'm in, I'm in. But also, if I'm not, I'm not, right? And then there's Robert, who is the slow burner. I had somebody come to every event I did for 18 months before she bought, because she was very like Robert. When you know this, you can support people and work with them. So remember, we always want to meet people where they're at, so you can elevate them to where they want to be. So when you understand, then that's only like a tiny, tiny touch of the psychology behind it. But when you know the psychology behind it, things become a lot easier, and you'll find that sales doesn't have that icky feeling anymore, and you actually really enjoy making them. And like I said, I have 100% success rate with my clients getting results. Here's some more results. And this is only a snapshot of my clients. So Edwina for ages was like my, she was my, oh, she referred so many people to me. So like I said, she's exactly like my buying style, right? She referred so many people to me. So when I met her, she was a nurse who was working in home care and was completely burnt out. And she's an energy healer and a life coach now. And within 6 months, she had a thriving energy healing business with recurring income, and she created amazing cash injections through angel card readings. She also did meditation classes, and she quit her job. She also built her own therapy room, which was amazing. She was honestly the queen of manifestation. It was so much fun to work with this lady. Her energy was off the charts. It was incredible to see what she was able to create. Then Laura is a consultant. So Laura was actually a stay-at-home mum when I met her, and she actually didn't know what she wanted to do. She had not a breeze what she wanted to do, and then realized she had like a real love for consultancy. So she launched her consultancy business, and she signed her first 10K client within 2 weeks of launching her business. That is really cool, like really, really cool. And she went on to develop another business alongside that. Elizabeth then's a life coach. So she works in HR and health and safety, and she has a side hustle. So she has her coaching as a side hustle. And when I first met her, she was coaching clients for free, like completely for free, terrified to ask for money. But also it was crippling her because she was away from her children, and she was coaching people for free and not really getting anything in return for it. So we literally shifted her really, really quickly into getting 5 paying clients. And these were on recurring contracts. So she went from coaching for free to 5 paying clients. That's a massive difference. And now she runs online retreats with other coaches, which is amazing. I love when people collaborate together. Love it. So let's get you signing clients so that you can see your business take off. Your time is now. Your time is absolutely now to get it going. You want to be able to hit January, like hit the ground running in January. And if there's something that stopped you before, book the call and let me work you through it, as to what has stopped you before from getting your business to take off, because everybody gets to be successful, right? Don't let anything stop you from doing it. Do not let your mindset stop you. Do not let other people stop you. Like, you absolutely can create incredible results in your life, but you've got to want to do them, and you've got to be willing to put in the work, and you've got to be willing to do the things that, like, I remember years ago, people used to say, you have to sacrifice, something. I hate that word, because you're not actually sacrificing, but you do get to ask yourself, well, what am I willing to let go of so that I can have exactly what I want? What am I willing to let go of so that I can have exactly what I want? And if signing clients into your business is what you want, and you want to genuinely have a successful business and have it that you can have a consistent, repeatable way to bring in clients, book the call. Book the call. Like I said, I have 100% success rate. So book the call. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am super excited for those of you that booked the call. I really am. I cannot wait to work with you. It is literally my mission in life to get as many women into entrepreneurship as possible and have them with successful businesses. Ladies, it's amazing. It's great fun. You will have so much more free time. Life is just completely different. So I'm a massive advocate for it. If you have a desire to get your business going, let's do it. Let's get cracking and let's make it happen. Talk to you soon.